Joining me once again on the channel is Paul Oxley from GOSA. Over the past few years, we've spoken a number of times about the ongoing dispute surrounding the SAPS Firearms Appeals Board, its absence, and what that means for firearm owners whose appeals have effectively been left in limbo. Today, we're catching up on where that matter stands, what has happened since our last discussion, and what firearm owners need to know going forward. Paul, good morning. Welcome back.
Morning, Rian.
So just to catch up for viewers who have probably or may have not followed the story from the beginning, just
All right.
a little quick recap, if you don't mind. What is the Firearms Appeal Board supposed to do? Why did GOSA become involved in this issue in the first place?
All right. So the law mandates that the minister appoint on a regular basis and reappoint and take nominations for and appoint on those according to those nominations, a firearms appeal board. Now, it doesn't specify how many people should be on the board, and the law doesn't. But the minister, in any case, he allowed the terms of the previous board to lapse on the 15th of January 2025, so a year and a half ago. We visited the supposed offices of the appeals board at Faulty Towers in Pretoria with our attorney, our in-house counsel, GOSA Law, and tried to ascertain whether these guys were actually there last year. They weren't. So this presents a problem, because if there's no Firearms Appeal Board, the Firearms Appeal Board is the internal remedy. If anybody has a dispute with the CFR about a licensing issue or a competency issue or anything of that sort, it has to go in front of the Firearms Appeal Board before you can take it on judicial review. So if there's no internal remedy, you can never get to the external remedy, which is judicial review. So it jams up the toilet completely. It won't flush. So it's a problem, and it's a problem that affects people that don't even realize that it actually impacts on them are affected by it. People just assume the appeal board is in place. They get refused by the CFR for whatever reason. They put in an appeal, and it just goes into the gutter because there's no appeal board.
What happens now in the interim
we decided
when your application gets refused? Do they just ask you to redo it from scratch because they know there's no appeals board?
Yeah, there's no appeal board. And if your application has been refused on spurious grounds, you're not a member of a sports shooting association, where in fact you are, and you produced evidence to that effect, then there's no way to get past that, because they now say, but the next time they look at it, they're going to say exactly the same. And you can't do anything. You can't move past go. You're stuck in limbo. You're stuck in this. Anyway, so there's supposed to be a Firearms Appeal Board, and there hasn't been one for a year and a half. So we just towards the end of last year, then we sent the minister a very friendly letter of demand. We said to him, dude, there's no Firearms Appeal Board. You haven't appointed a Firearms Appeal Board. You need to, in terms of this and this and this in the law. Can we ask you please to do that? And he ignored us, which is typical. So this year, we decided, no, this is not good enough anymore. So we actually filed the minister never responded to our letters of demand. When we said we're going to sue you, he never responded to that. So we enrolled a matter on the unopposed roll, because he hadn't told us that he was going to oppose us in the South Gauteng High Court. I got to then like the day before court, panic. So he gets to us and gets back to us through the state attorney, and he says, no, we intend to oppose it. Please remove it from the unopposed roll and put it on the opposed roll. Now, the opposed roll has like a waiting list of about a year. So we didn't want to do that. We didn't feel inclined to do that. So we said to him, so where's your opposing affidavit? Why do you think that you don't have to follow the law? And he ignored us again. So we arrived in court. And the state attorney was in court, and they brought a counsel with them, and they spent about an hour on the phone taking instructions in front of the judge. Eventually, the judge said, listen, this doesn't work for me. Can we stand the matter down on the basis that you need to produce your papers if you want to oppose the matter? So the state said, fine, but we're not prepared to pay costs, which is a bizarre understanding of how the law works, because if you're defaulting and you're causing a delay, you have to carry the burden, the financial burden of the matter. So anyway, so we said to them, well, we don't accept that. You're going to have to pay costs, but let's determine what we'll do is we'll stand the costs order down until you're properly before the court. In other words, when you've got your paperwork. And they said, fine, that's great. So we got out of court. It was made an order of court. We got out of court, and we immediately said to them, okay, you've got 24 hours for your affidavit, because you've already obviously decided on something. All you have to do is show us your workings now. Show us why you believe you don't have to obey the law. And that was almost 2 months ago. They haven't produced it yet.
Yes.
So, but then the state attorney gets back to us last month and says to us, no, the minister has appointed a new board. So you can stand down your matter, and we'd be happy if you just eat your own costs. So we said, no. This is not quite how it works. In the real world, if you've defaulted, we still don't have your affidavit. We only have an averment, an assertion that the board has been appointed. We have no proof of it. In any case, so we said to them, please produce proof, and no, or we'll see you back in court coming up now. Anyway, so then the state's attorney got back to us and said to us, no, the minister genuinely has appointed a board, promise, trust us. So we said, okay. And I sent you the document yesterday, I think, or the day before, perhaps, that we've now sent to this. So what we said, we've written back to the state's attorney, and we said, they wrote to us and they said, this is like off the record. Can we just make an arrangement? So we said, no. We're before the court already. Bring your documents, bring your proof of the establishment of the Firearms Appeal Board. Bring it to court. Show it to the judge. We're already busy with a legal matter. Show it to the judge. Take the court into your confidence, and take us into your confidence. Tell us how you appointed an appeals board, who they are, and what instruments, what documents were used to appoint them.
Yes.
And we'll see. Otherwise, we're going to see you in court. And no, we're not going to eat our costs. This whole thing has been brought about by your intransigence, by your failing to communicate, to take the court into your confidence, to respond to us properly before the court. So no thanks. We're not going to eat our own costs. In fact, we're looking for costs on a punitive basis against you, because you can't act like this. So there we are.
So since our last discussion, we are basically still at the same point. There has been no progress.
Circling the drain. We're not going to step back. So we had, when we went to court, we had 3 applicants, 3 plaintiffs, plus ourselves. One of the plaintiffs almost immediately received a refusal from the appeals board. Said, no, we're not going to grant you your appeal. A week ago, we received a positive response on one of the other applicants. They said, okay, well, we agree. But in neither case was the signature at the bottom of the letter legible. So we can't see who approved it or who denied it, but we're meant to believe that there's now an appeal board in place. We don't trust them. Riaan, we don't trust them as far as we can throw them.
But
We don't
has
believe there's
this
an appeal board in place.
has this appeals board actually contacted anybody else in the system that you guys are
Well,
aware of? Was it just these two applicants?
no, no. I'm sure they've this whoever's writing these auto pen letters to back to the applicants. We're pretty sure that they're still doing that, but they just haven't let anybody know about it.
But that
So
makes
we
no
don't
sense
believe
to
there's an
me.
appeal board.
If there truly is an appeals board now, why is there a problem for them from the minister's side to just admit it in court? This is who they are. This is how so this is legit. It's done. You know that.
Exactly.
And then you guys can go back to the firearms fraternity and say, hey, there is an appeals board. Here's the proof. It's sorted. So now this can happen again. I don't understand why they can't or refuse to just bring themselves to that point to actually do it. Well, I mean, it does raise questions as to the validity of the whole thing, obviously, because it looks highly suspicious. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be, yeah, we did. Yes, the proof. It's done. Then the court case goes away and all the problems goes away.
Yeah. So this is why, Riaan, you're more than welcome to publish the text of the letter that we sent into them yesterday, or the day before yesterday. And you can see all we're asking is put the matter, whatever your evidence is, your evidence that you nominated, that you asked for nominations, that you approved nominations, that you appointed, etc., put the instruments in front of the court. We're not going to do a backroom deal. We're not going to accept your word on it because you've lied to us before, and we think you're lying to us now. So put it all before the court. Put the evidence that you have before the court and let the court see. Let the court decide. And we're getting no response from that. So which leads us even more to believe that they're bullshitting us. You know?
Well, it's very difficult to not jump to that conclusion in light of the ongoing actions. It's very difficult to not think that.
Absolutely.
I will include that letter right at the end of this video, just after Paul and I say goodbye. I will include it there. So anybody who's interested in reading it, you can go there to the end of the video and pause it and read it. Paul,
we don't understand. We don't know where to from here. You know, quo vadis. Where do we go from here? Because well, we're going to go back to court. But we're going to go back to court, and I guarantee you, we're going to have the same Tweedledee and Tweedledum on their cell phones taking instructions, because they, you know, and we've said to them in this letter, as you see, we've said to them, your affidavit is now well out of time. If you wanted to defend this matter, you should have produced a responding affidavit. Your affidavit is now months out of time. You're going to have to explain to the court, if you want to produce that affidavit to the court, you're going to have to explain to the court why you've been so recalcitrant, why you've been so tardy. You have to tell the court, you have to ask for permission from the court to present the affidavit, and you have to explain yourselves. So it doesn't paint a good picture, Riaan. It's like, you know, the Minister of Police is an absentee landlord. You know, he just appears on photo ops every now and then, but he's not doing his work.
And now they're just playing for time, because they can throw all the money in the world at this, and they can stretch it out for years. In the meantime, there is a system that was put in place to assist legal firearm owners in their quest to own legal firearms. That is completely broken as a result of the fact that there isn't an appeals board, and that because of the fact that the minister, whose duty it is to appoint it, has not done so since January 2025. So it's more than a year and a half later that there is still no proof. Let me put it that way. There's still no proof of an appeals board. And
Now you
the
have to take
question
into
then is,
account, yeah. One of the things about the law is is a structure that's supposed to give certainty. It's supposed to give
yes,
a modicum of a reassurance to the public that things work in a certain way. That if you do A, B, C, you're going to get to D. And by taking out C, they've left the entire structure of the law in limbo. And it's much bigger than just a small administrative matter for the people, the couple of dozen people who have got appeals outstanding, or the couple of hundred, or I have no idea how many, because we've now received, we asked on the GOSA Facebook group a while ago, we asked for other people to please come forward if they've got appeals outstanding. And the stuff
yes.
is piling up on GOSA Law's desk. So I don't understand why the state is they're being stupid about this. You know, they're being hard-headed and no, we won't. You don't get to say to the court, no, we won't. That's where
it makes no sense.
personal costs orders start coming in.
Because this kind of stuff is laying the foundation for people out there to turn around and say, we do not trust the law, we do not trust the courts, we do not trust the system.
Yeah.
Because this system that was put in place for the assistance of firearm owners,
Yes.
I mean, it's supposed to be there to help them.
Yeah.
It's broken now. It's broken.
Yeah.
It's been broken.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be any rush to fix it. So it
No.
does make people make statements like that. It's impossible to tell people, no, it's working when they're facing stuff like this.
Have
and
faith in
hearing
the
stuff like
system.
this.
It'll work. So we have Claire Taylor 2 weeks ago from Gun Free South Africa coming out and saying people aren't relicensing anymore. Can you blame them? They don't see. I believe she's wrong in the first place. I don't think she actually has evidence to produce on that in that. But philosophically, she's correct, because people no longer trust the system, because the system hasn't been working for them for almost 2 years now. The appeal board system. So the internal remedy, by breaking the internal remedy, they've removed confidence from their own systems. Not that anybody had great confidence in the SAPS and their ability to administer the Firearms Control Act in the first instance, but now they've got so much less, and it's just getting worse.
It just erodes the public's trust in the police, in the whole legal system, more and more and more. And in this case, the fix is so easy and so obvious. The minister must just appoint an appeals board and go to the court and say, okay, here's the documentation to prove it. There we go. It's done. It's sorted. It's literally that easy.
Then he takes the ground out, the dam out from under our duck. But at the moment, by leaving it in limbo like this, he's just creating confusion. He's just creating a worse situation for himself. He's creating a case study that we can use to hammer him for years to come. Yes. When he comes to us and says to us, why aren't firearm owners obeying the law? We say, but you don't obey the law. Tukokwe, what about you? You don't obey the law, so why should we? We're not doing that because we're law-abiding, we're compliant.
Exactly. Yes.
But the minister isn't bloody compliant. So, where do we go to from here? He's going to get nailed in court. We're going to end up with a nice costs order in our favor, which the public pays. You pay it, I pay it. Because the minister's not going to pay it. Hopefully, we can get to the point where the presiding officer actually makes a personal costs order against the minister. That would be, please make a personal costs order against the minister, the acting minister. Let him pay. Let him feel the pain in his pocket. But I doubt we'll get to that, because judges are very reluctant to do that, to make personal costs orders. Anyway, but there we are, Rian. I'm sorry I don't have anything of more of greater import to share with you, but we're back to circling the drain.
Well, thank you for joining us and keeping us updated on. I mean, this is clearly an important and very emotive issue for South African firearm owners. From our side, we will continue following the matter as it develops. Hopefully, at some
Sure.
stage, there will be good news. And if there are any significant updates, then obviously, and we hear about it, we will
We'll
also have
we'll
you
let
back
you
on
know
the
straight
channel.
away.
Thank you. And for the viewers, if you found value in the discussion, please share this video far and wide. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and smash that bell icon so you get notifications of new videos coming out. And thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one. If you're interested, by the way, in any of the training offered under the Loan Operator Program, there is always a link in the description below. Check it out. We look forward to seeing you on a range one of these days. Paul, thank you so much.
Riaan, cheers.